You need to ask off air.
No. I just couldn't. I can't remember right now because I'm a idiot. I'm not very smart. I'll think of it. Binnall, are you drinking milk? I'm misidentifying everyone's drinks tonight. What's going on with that? I can't see.
Top milk. Are we live?
We are live. We are live on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube.
Oh,
Wow.
At least at one of the Facebook destinations, but it's probably the one that really counts anyway, so it's all good. I'll see if the other one goes live here in a second. So Facebook has changed the way they do some things, but Instagram, we're live on Instagram too. So
man,
yeah.
And Facebook used to be so cool too.
Yeah, trying to figure all this out for the very last time. So okay. So anyway, welcome everybody to Conspiranormal. We are counting down to the Strange Realities 2024. It is happening, whether I want it to or not. But
what? Take that again.
I know, right? So, all right. Well, we have 4 more of the guests that are going to be speaking, one of which is the MC at the Strange Realities Conference 2024. And we are going to be talking about what they are going to be talking about at the conference. So welcome, everybody. And, let's start off with Steve Berg.
Okay.
Let me introduce everybody. We've got Steve Berg.
Hi, I'm Steve Berg from
We've
Omaha.
got Nathan Isaac.
Hi, guys.
Tim Binnall.
Woo!
And last but not least, Nevaeh Terre.
Hello.
Nevaeh. All right. So we got all the pleasantries out of the way. Let's talk about what you guys are going to be talking about at the conference. And I am very, very excited to have all of you there as we have in past years. But Steve, you are not speaking, but you're going to be the MC.
I'll be speaking of sorts, yes.
Yeah, so let's talk about we can talk a little bit about some of the things that people can expect from an MC Strange Realities Conference by Steve Berg.
Oh, wow. Well, you can expect a lot of enthusiasm. I love everyone there speaking like family. And so I'm passionate about what they all do. And I'm genuinely excited about everyone speaking. So it really comes from the heart. So it's an unbridled classic, Midwestern Nebraskan, just deep passion for the game. Yeah. But also, I'm probably going to be trying out some of my dad, high strange dad humor. There might be some dad, dogman jokes and weird factoids about weird Nebraska and cat emulations, all that good stuff. But yeah, mostly I am just there to set up, throw up a nice layup to the speaker so they can slam dunk it. So I'm a professional cheerleader by trade, and this is what I bring. High energy, high octane, good time fun. Let's do it. Strange Realities 2024. Come on.
Steve makes it a show.
Yeah, I like to bring a little showmanship to
the show.
It's gosh darn fun. I'm just so truly am so honored to do it and be a part of it in any way possible. I love all these. I love all you guys. I love everyone speaking there. So it's just a real love fest. It's a good energy place to talk about weird stuff. And that's what I bring. That's what I'm gonna bring.
Yeah. We should point out. I mean, you and I were just talking, but we should point out that Steve started out as he's a fan of Conspiranormal. He's a fan of my show as well as a fan of Binnall's as well.
Yep,
but nobody's perfect.
But nobody's perfect.
I mean, he's a great guy, but his taste in
taste in
podcast. Doesn't quack real podcast.
So, but in 2021, Steve actually, I guess you missed that it was happening, and you contacted me, and you were man, I really want to see this conference, and we had just finished. It was that Sunday night,
yeah,
and I was like, well, send me $30 on PayPal, and we will I will send you the link for you to watch this, to watch the stream. And you did, and you loved it. And the next year, I think we approached you about being a speaker.
I'll be honest, I hard sold myself when I was a guest on your show. And Sir Fiel afterwards, like, would you want to come? You guys were like, would you want to come speak? I'm like, fuck yeah. Excuse me, pardon my language. Heck yes, I would.
You can
Heck
cuss.
yes. Can I? Ooh, that's fun. Tim, you hear that?
We got
I was gonna say they got me on the show, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look at him. He looks
Nathan
like a sailor.
too, man. Shit.
Oh yeah,
No.
Nathan.
Well, you know,
I know. It's going to be expletives deleted tonight.
there is, but who believes in censorship? It's fun to curse. Anyway, yeah, I'm very excited, man. This is gonna be so much fun, and if this is gonna be the last in-person one, we're gonna go out with a bang. Although I don't like to think of it as the last. I'm not like hard and fast to rules. It could drift somewhere else to another location. I have ideas. Yeah. We'll talk off air.
We'll talk. Yeah. So in 2023, you became the MC and you started MCing for us, and then this year you're going to be coming back and doing that again. And
yeah.
And we are always happy to have you. And in fact, like, it saves myself and Sir Fiel from having to do that. So, even though we'll show up on stage,
of course.
But,
yeah.
That lets me like run around just like frantically trying to put out 1,000 fires a little more effectively. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of moving parts for both of you fellows, so I'm happy to help. So as you were saying earlier when we were just doing a little promo on my show for this, send in the clowns.
Send in the clowns. Yes.
Send in the clowns.
So let's get started with everybody that's going to be speaking. And you know what, Nevaeh, I'm just going to put you on the spot.
Yeah.
And you could start.
Why would you?
Let me give a little history though. So Nevaeh she does the Nevaeh's Nightmare YouTube channel. She's hiding her head.
That's me.
Nevaeh has been helping me with Strange Realities conference since 2022. So this is like her third one that she's been a part of, and she's kind of been behind the scenes as well, checking people in, doing all that stuff, and doing whatever else is needed. And
very much appreciated.
Last year she did the Q&A session at the end of Saturday night, and now this year though she's speaking, so I'm putting her up there this year. So Nevaeh, tell people what you're going to be talking about.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm really nervous, but
I know
it's okay.
It's all right.
I'm talking about something that's I'm pretty passionate about. I'm pretty open about the fact that I'm in like my line of work. I'm going to school to be a funeral director and an embalmer, and I kind of want to bring some light into the funeral industry, and I also want to talk about like the weird things that Victorians did with their funeral customs, like their burials, their mourning, their funerals. Touch a little bit on some like Egyptian stuff, what they did. I don't know how much I'm going to talk about that though, because like I'm not an expert in that. But yeah, I'm going to talk about some things like that. I'm going to speak a little bit about who I am, because I've never done anything like this before, and so I'm assuming people don't like know me like that. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about me, why I'm in school for this, why I want to do this, what got me interested in the weird and bizarre, and then I'm gonna kind of turn it into talking about the stuff that goes on with like in the past with funeral directing and embalming in cemeteries, and kind of move it into like my own paranormal experiences that I've talked about on a few shows and briefly with some people, but I thought it'd be cool to bring it to this event because I've got some backwoods stories, you could say.
Cool.
So yeah.
Nice.
Awesome.
So what I guess that like being a mortuary student or mortician student, is there do you see, I mean, I guess like, is there any crossover to like, is anybody else like in your class or like your teachers, are any of them like interested in the paranormal stuff, or do you see like a lot of like crossover between the two?
Yes, but in a different sense than what you're thinking. I see a lot of crossover in the sense of we're all kind of strange because we're literally working on dead people and wanting to help people that are like lost the most precious person in their life. So like we're all going to be a little kooky. Some of us are going to have some more stranger interest, but for the most part, I think we all feel the same about you don't like when you're with a family, when you're at a funeral, when you're working with a loved one, you don't think about ghost. Even if it does cross your mind, it just crosses your mind. You got to be as respectful as possible in the moment. But it does cross your mind, but it's nothing that like, I don't know, in the line of work, you don't really talk about that unless you're like going to get drinks with your coworkers. And then you guys are just talking about what you've experienced. You don't really like, I don't know. You don't think about ghost in the chapel, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Makes sense.
Nevaeh gets to do some interesting things. She's told me some pretty interesting experiences that she's had. Funny story I like to tell: when we were coming back from the Bell Witch, she took Seraphiel and I back here to my place, and her textbook was in the back, and Seraphiel was going to look at it, and she said, you might not want to look at that. You might probably not going to like what you see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a little disclaimer. If you open that book, I'm not responsible for whatever mental trauma you endure. It's not me. It's not my fault.
Is it like Faces of Death?
No, it's an
Yeah.
involving textbook.
It's,
I know,
it's
that's
a
like-
lot of
that's a super-
bodies
I'm-
of death.
You're probably too young to even know what the fuck I'm talking about.
It's-
Faces of Death.
I'm not sure, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's morbid, but it's also like you're helping someone at the end of the day. I think my favorite part about it is knowing someone's story, like walking through a cemetery and finding a super duper old headstone and then just looking up their obituary, looking up why they're buried at this funeral home, finding out if they came from a different cemetery to that cemetery, and that cemetery is even older than this one. I don't know. I like learning about people. I like history, and everyone's got their own story. So like, why not learn about it?
Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, like we've got such a diverse cast of characters, and the fact that you are studying and already around, the stuff is you're not like some like armchair theorist just like reading books and stuff. Like you're close to the other side
Yeah.
or whatever. it
Yeah,
is.
and that's
Yeah,
mainly
truly.
why I want to talk about it, because like a lot of people, when you go online and you look up things, it's like funeral directors do this, crematory people do this, cemetery people do this. And it's like, okay, you don't know that. That's something that you saw 3 other people repost. Did it come from someone that works in the funeral service industry? There's just a lot of, I don't know, speculation. There's a lot of misinformation. And even though I'm going to be talking about the stuff that we did hundreds of years ago, we did them hundreds of years ago. They don't pertain to anything that we do now. And I'm going to touch very briefly on like the stuff we do now, just to kind of circle it back to this is a respect thing. I'm trying to like teach everyone that this is where we have been and this is where we are now. And we need to be grateful for where we are now.
That sounds great, I have to say.
Yeah.
I am very excited about this.
Thank you.
That's something real different. That's
Yeah.
really what we like to do.
Informative.
Yeah, I want to be informative, but like I'm also going to tie it into like ghost. Why
Hell
am I
yes.
into this? So
Yeah.
yeah,
Ghost rule.
ghosty rules.
Awesome.
What came first for you, Nevaeh? I don't think I've ever asked you this question. What came first to you, wanting to be a mortician or being interested in the paranormal?
Being interested in the paranormal. For sure.
Do you think that led you to want to be interested in being a mortician?
No, I didn't want to
No.
be a mortician until I went to a specific funeral and was like, "Ooh, okay. I don't want this to happen again. I want this to be my job. I can handle it. I want this to be my job."
Right.
Oh, was something like botched or something?
Not necessarily botched, just not as presentable as should have been.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I don't
She
know
could
why.
make grandma look good.
I tell you, I've seen like she gets to do some cool stuff. Like, did you go to the body farm?
My
Did you get to
classmates
go?
did. I was sick.
You didn't get to go. Okay.
No, I wasn't sick. I had my clinicals that weekend, so I was in a funeral home all weekend, and they got to go on the field trip, and I didn't.
Are you going to go to the body farm?
I'll probably just have to go by myself. I could probably get a few of my classmates to come with me, but it's probably just something I'd have to do alone.
Can I just interject really quick? I think I speak for everyone that we would like to know what the body farm is.
Okay,
That's not a normal thing. I don't know.
Nathan might know.
Maybe that's a
Nathan might
thing
know.
in like Tennessee, dude. But like,
Okay,
where
all
I
right.
come
So,
from, we don't have
Yeah,
body farms.
farm.
all right. So at the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, which is the main campus of the University of Tennessee, Dr. Bass, I think, was his name, and he's I think he's passed on. I think he passed on a few years ago, but he was very famous for like he was he had like people would donate their bodies to the university, and then he would put them on this thing called the body farm, and it was a way to like measure like rate of decomposition or
Right.
like if flies laid their eggs and the maggots hatched out. This is pleasant stuff, like, you know. So it was a way for like people that were investigatory students to go in and you know how to do like forensic, you know, stuff like that. So yeah.
He taught us a lot about decomposition as a whole. He not only was tracking how decomposition worked, but he would put the cadavers in different positions, different parts of the environment, just to see how the ecosystem responded, how they responded, how the chemicals responded. He was a pretty frequent speaker at my school before he passed, so my school like really loves that man and talks about him a lot. But he taught us a lot about decomposition that we would not know if it was not for him in the body farm.
Yeah.
When he passed away, did he donate his remains to the body farm?
I was gonna
I
ask
have
the same
no
thing.
clue.
Man, that's a good
I have
one.
no clue.
He
You
had
look it
to
up,
have.
I'm sure.
I would. I feel like I would. I'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
I get it.
I'd like to. In fact, if you have a way I can donate my body to the, I mean, I'm definitely already an organ donor, so why not go to the creme de la creme place and, you know, be studied by people?
I mean, yeah,
Jeez.
you could. I think you literally just fill out a sheet of paper at the university and like, hey, I want to do this when I die. And they're like, okay.
Right. I mean, they'd have to ship
Bring one
me
for
from
Steve if you
Nebraska.
can get a hold of a copy.
Yeah, hook me up with some body farm agent, and I'd like to see if they can transport me
Hey,
from
there's
Nebraska.
so many places in Tennessee that do some like strange burials too that aren't just like body farms. Like there are so many completely green burial places here.
Wow.
There's a cemetery here that does strictly shrouded burials. There's not a single person buried there that's not in a shroud. They have no boxes, they're completely natural. There's nothing else to it, just shrouds.
Worms
There's
crawl
also
in and the worms crawl out.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a funeral home here that does some sort of sarcophagus treatment, like some sort of like sarcophagus embalming. I saw it at the Funeral Directors Association, but
Like
I'm not really sure
mummification or what? Like,
I don't think it's mummification. I think they just embalm them like normal, but they bury them in like a sarcophagus with like all
That's
of the
cool.
like jewels and stuff.
Wow.
real quick,
Yeah.
I know you're talking about the crossover with paranormal
Mhm.
interested folks, but what's the heavy metal crossover with your field? Is it as
Heavy
high as
metal.
I think? Because everyone I've known who's ever had an interest or been pursuing your career is definitely a metalhead.
I'm not gonna lie. I need you to introduce them to me because I don't know a single one.
Dang. Okay.
I don't know a single person other than me in my entire school that listens to metal. There's one other goth lady at my school, and she's the librarian. And she's coming. Hi, Kimberly.
Hey, Kimberly.
But other than that, I don't really know anyone that listens to metal that's in my field. There's a
Librarian.
lot of
of
country
death.
folk. There's a lot of country folk.
Interesting.
All right.
Nice.
Well, Garth Brooks says you're, washing bodies decompose, I guess. Sorry. Nothing.
What? I don't know.
Strike that from the. Well, no. Did you say country? Oh, I thought you meant country fans.
No,
Oh,
like just
faith-
like
Oh,
there's a
country.
lot of
Sorry.
people that go to my school that
Country
are very
folk.
like.
I thought you were
self-
speaking of the genre, and I was making a really bad.
Just people from Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get it. It's funny
the
now.
backwoods of Tennessee. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just a metalhead. I just like metal.
There you go.
Okay. Interesting. And, like also though too, like you also went to you got to go to Mount Olivet, which was cool.
That was cool. I've been there a few times now. My school likes to go there a lot. I've also got a couple classmates that like to just take late night drives around Mount Olivet.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a great.
Just
it's a
for the
great
hell of
place.
it.
Yeah. I have one classmate that literally just sits outside in the dark and studies in the cemetery.
Jeez.
And she doesn't like metal?
No,
What's the world coming to?
she's from Paris, Tennessee, and has the thickest country accent I have ever heard in my life.
Wow.
And she only wears pastels.
I hope she's not watching.
Is she coming to the conference?
She it's funny.
Tell her to come to. I want to meet this character. Yeah, tell her to come to the conference.
She was. I love her. I love you, Gracie.
Well, thank you, Nevaeh. We were glad that you're going to be speaking,
I'm
and we should say too, Nevaeh, you are going on 6:20 to 7:20 on Friday night.
Nice.
November
Hot,
3rd.
that's a hot slot right there.
Yeah,
That is.
What does
That's a
that
great.
mean?
that's big
It's
time.
like that's a good time.
That's a good time. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, it's right. It's like right. You know, like right after dinner, people are charged up.
Prime
you know?
time.
Yeah.
Prime time.
Okay. I get a lot of questions. Okay, I want people to ask me questions. If you guys have questions right now, save them for later because I want to take like a whole segment out of the end for questions.
I'll have them.
Okay, we'll make that happen.
Absolutely.
You got it.
We do have someone here dressed as an Undertaker, sort of, right now.
Now, you guys saw Tim had to adjust his camera so that it would
Yeah.
catch the whole hat.
Just wind down a
Steve's
little bit.
advisement. Yes.
It looks great now. Perfect.
So, Tim, you've been with
Yes.
you've been with us since the very, 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 very beginning
Right.
of Strange
Coach.
Realities.
2019.
That's right. You have been there as an unofficial advisor and all kinds of other things, and bring you bring the party. But what are you going to be talking
Thank you.
about at the conference this year?
Well, it's not as riveting as what Nevaeh just talked about, but I'm sure it will be hopefully equally as entertaining. And this is a subject I've been kicking around for a long time that I was like, I'd like to write about this, but I don't really have a forum to write this kind of long form thing. And when I kind of had gotten an inkling that this might be the last rodeo in Nashville, I was like, well, let me dust off this old idea I've been kicking around that I've wanted to do for a while. And it's kind of in keeping with the Binnall brand in a way, because it's lighthearted. It's fun. I'm going to be talking about instances of UFO sightings on classic sitcoms. And so I'm going to present these different classic sitcom episodes wherein a character sees a UFO, and we'll talk about how it was portrayed on the show. I mean, I guess this is kind of a spoiler. Like, you can kind of imagine the shows that have had the ones I know for sure I'm going to be talking about. Like Golden Girls has a famous UFO episode. Joshua Cutchin turned me on to a really good Newhart episode that has a UFO sighting. There's also the classic Brady Bunch episode. I'm trying to dig up an episode of Alice where Alice, I think, saw a UFO. Yeah,
I love that show, by the way.
I know. It's great.
Mel,
It's
was
great.
that with Mel the cook?
Yes, yeah. Kiss my grits.
That's so good.
And an episode of Wings, which was super like influential on me as a kid. I was like, I grew up like, I still am. I'm like, I'm not really into like these hour-long dramas or anything. Like people are like, oh, Mad Men and Breaking Bad and all that. I don't even watch those shows, but like a fucking sitcom, I will watch like any sitcom generally. I just love them. I just love sitcoms. It's like, it's such a great medium, you know, it's such a great sort of genre or whatever. And I remember as a kid, I used to watch all of them as a kid, like Night Court and everything, Perfect Strangers and Cheers and every kind of sitcom you could imagine. I was like, if it was a sitcom, I'd watch it. So I remember watching the Wings episode where they saw a UFO, and I was kind of into the weird stuff back then. And that was like one of those things that just stayed with me forever. And it's, it's a really interesting episode. And, I was watching the Golden Girls one a few weeks ago, and it's like, there's just a lot of themes that get involved in these things. Government's like mixed up in it. It's sort of like, all right, how does the story resolve itself? And I don't want to get too deeply into sort of the themes that I've noticed in some of these episodes, but that's what I'm going to be going over. I'll sort of I'll recount the episode. Like here's what happens, and Rose and Blanche see the UFO. and I'll sort of take you through like the actual beats of the episode, and then I'll kind of point out some of the weird aspects of the story, pretty much. And that's really it. I mean, I'll be quite honest, I haven't given it too much of a deeper thought. It's like I said, something I wanted to explore for a while. There's not like a super amount of depth, I don't think, to it, but it's more going to be just fun and funny, and wacky. And we're going to also do the Dukes of Hazzard episode where the alien, they take in an alien who gets stuck on Earth, named Cousin. They call him Cousin Junior, which I think is just the best fucking name I've ever heard in my life. Cousin Junior. So they're like tooling around with Cousin Junior, and yeah, and like before Roswell, Boss Hogg is like, we're gonna turn Hazard into the UFO capital of the United States. This is gonna be, and he's like describing Roswell essentially. He's like, we're gonna have a museum and a festival, and then you come down and see where the UFO landed. And I'm like, holy shit, dude, this guy pretty much just described Roswell, like before Roswell. So it's fun. It's going to be a lot of fun, and yeah, it's cool. It's something I wanted to explore for a while now, and it's funny. During Paramania, we were driving around in the minivan. It was like 6 of us there this year, so it was a small group. But luckily, we had one car, and I kind of threw it out there, like, "Hey, all right, here's what I'm going to be doing in Strange Realities. Everybody, get on your phone and start looking for these shows." And that's how Kutch found the Newhart episode. And so, and they were coming up with like a whole bunch of other ones. I think there's like a Green Acres one. So I'm going to have to really parse this down. This feels like, I can't see myself writing this as a book, but it almost feels like it has like the seed of a book in there somewhere. Because like, no one's really talking about these. No one really has done anything to explore UFO sightings on sitcoms, which is just such a weird thing and fun. So, and after that, you got to make sure you book me with enough time, Adam, because we're also going to have the long-awaited return of 40 and Feud.
That's
so
right.
We'll be bringing back 40 and Feud, better than ever. Same format, same style, paranormal questions, pretty much from Family Feud. So,
which was a real blast last year.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. And for the folks watching at home who are like in, Portland, Oregon, or Denver, Colorado, or somewhere else, and they're like, "Oh, that sounds cool. I really want to see it." I'm sure you've heard by now if you're a Conspiranormal fan, but just to reiterate the point, you could be watching that on November 1st from the comfort of your own home. You can catch 40 and Feud 2, as well as the sitcom stuff, and Nevaeh's presentation, and Nathan's, and Steve emceeing the whole thing right from your house on the stream.
That's right.
And as Adam's going to be on Binnall of America next week, and I pointed out to him, I've interviewed a lot, and I'm sure you guys have too with Conspiranormal. I've interviewed tons of people over the last year with the revival that have had really awesome sounding conferences, and it's like, I want to go, but I can't make it out to Wisconsin or whatever, dude. And so this is like one of the only conferences that I can think of right now that still has the hybrid approach. So it's really an opportunity for people to check out some of the stuff. And Adam did a whole rundown on BOA. You'll hear next week, and you'll hear me just being like, what? Holy shit. Because the topics this year are really, really good. They are really, really like interesting and unique and really intriguing. So I'm really looking forward to that. And again, people can, wherever you are in the world, you can watch this event, which is unlike so many other paranormal conferences out there.
Yeah, that's a big thing. We really like just giving our speakers the freedom to do whatever they want, and that usually ends up being some of the most unexpected and weirdest, coolest stuff that somehow all fits into this Strange Realities world.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a big, wide umbrella.
Yeah,
and everybody could talk about as long as it touches on something, remotely to do with the paranormal, and that's why I think this is an excellent. This is going to be a fun one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is going to be a really fun, really fun presentation, and I'm looking forward to it.
Tim, I want to ask you real quick, are you having a hard time tracking down any of these episodes? Is there anything you can't find?
Yeah, I haven't really sort of I did sort of a cursory search, and I could get some of these streaming services have the archives of these different sitcoms. So like, I think I can get Wings and Newhart and Golden Girls. I've already watched 2 out of 3 of those.
Okay.
And I'm still looking for the Alice episode, and I got the Dukes of Hazzard. So I got it's pretty
Okay.
good thanks to streaming.
I don't know if we can do it in enough time, but if there are some stuff you can't find, I can probably find them at the video archive here in Seattle. And if you have a VHS player, I could make you a tape.
Ooh.
We were just talking about Betamax tapes. Were
We
we not?
were.
Steve?
We were.
We were just talking about that on your
Betamax.
show.
Yeah, we were.
We want to do a Betamax tape of Binnall's presentation to sell.
Strange Realities Conference
that'd be
2026 on Betamax only.
Honestly, imagine though we could get it to look like 1989, like the MUFON conference where Bill Moore like spilled the beans.
Pretty cool.
That
that tracking fuzz and stuff.
dude, that aesthetic is for me. Let's just say that.
Would be cool.
Yeah, me too.
Tim, I'm super excited about your lecture, dude. That sounds like right up my alley.
Thank you. I think people are gonna I think people are gonna really enjoy it because they're funny. I mean, they're funny. They're funny like stories. I didn't write them, obviously.
It's also part of it's part of the culture too. The UFO culture. It's really important. I love it.
Yeah, and I think there's a good chance a lot of people in the audience will be like, "I remember that one. I remember that one." And well, we cannot play. Obviously, we can't play like clips. I'll have like screenshots up as I go through the slideshow, so it'll be essentially like the same thing. But we don't want, Mark, Mark Goodson or MGM or whoever, whoever owns the Golden.
Might be a little bit of.
Although that would be kind of funny, where we're like, it turns out, the rest we had to cancel the rest of Strange Realities because,
we got shut down.
The Golden Girls,
Lionsgate shut us down.
Shut down the event.
By the way, Steve, nice obscure reference of Bill Moore at the 1989.
Is that obscure? I don't know. It's obscure.
Yeah, that's pretty big time, man.
I feel like that's like.
It's probably racked up some views on YouTube. I know.
Yeah. Look.
That's the quintessential.
Well, I'm always throwing Bill Moore's name out of that because of all ufology. That is the role I was born to play. I want to play Bill Moore in a biopic that no one would be interested in watching. But
the Bill Moore
Adam's going to play
biopic.
Bill Cooper.
We'll do it. We'll do it. It'll be like a buddy movie of those guys traveling across the.
Oh my god! And I just can't stand all the nonsense you're saying. Like, enough of this patriot movement. Stop.
Anyway, well, yeah, Tim, we're awesome to have you. Great to have you, man. Great to have you always.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be
a lot of fun.
I texted Kutch the other day because I'm starting to. I'm starting to kind of feel it now. I'm starting to get Strange Realities fever.
The fun is such a big part of it, man.
It is.
I think that's something that also separates it.
Yeah. Like I think Steve and Nathan and even Nevaeh and you guys will kind of identify like just that first time you like you go down that long hallway and you pop open the fucking back.
Yeah.
You come out into that patio area.
Yeah.
And it's got the picnic table and it's like. I'm going to be spending the next day and a half here hanging out, smoking pot, drinking beers, having laughs. Having a really good time.
It really is the perfect like little break room, like outdoor break room because it's so private.
Yeah, no green room, only that.
It's a great place to chill though between the speakers and like when you all take little breaks. I think it's such a great little addition. Without that, it would not be the same.
I will reveal for the first time that we're going to have a grill there.
Yes, I was going to ask you.
I'm making preparations. I'm going to go ahead and have somebody cooking burgers. My roommate Luke is going to be the chef. So,
dude, I've heard
looking forward to cooking y'all burgers.
Didn't Luke win a James Beard Award?
What?
Didn't Luke win a James Beard Award? I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
I don't know.
I
don't think he did.
That must have been another Luke. Yeah, never mind.
I'm getting excited. All the little details, all the little memories from, just the drive over to fucking SIR and the giant guitar and the train tracks and the old fort. And it's like all these little things that I remember from, you know, and even I know we're going to be like at an Airbnb, but I have a feeling we're going to be hanging out in front of the hotel a lot of the time.
We will.
And then going back to Airbnb to crash, but just hanging out in front of the hotel, just all the little details that from all the years. It's like, oh, this is we're gonna be right back. It's like old home week, you know. It's
I'm
like
getting that
old
feeling too, man.
homecoming.
Nevaeh, you might need to be a designated driver.
No,
Just
take
like
Uber.
That's what Uber's for. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not too
Yeah.
far. Yeah.
Nevaeh ain't driving no one.
No. Yeah.
No one's
yeah.
going in my car.
No, don't even bring your car.
Y'all's
There-
Airbnb isn't too far. That's just the next exit
No,
up.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's very, very close. Let's get over to Nathan Isaac. Let's get over to what I'm real curious to know what you're going to be presenting about Nathan. This is the big reveal.
reveal.
to me.
It is.
Oh God, man, don't build it up. I mean, everything else sounds so cool, you know.
Last
so-
year was fucking sick, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. I mean, all right. So I found this weird kind of classic UFO case about a guy named Carl Hoonrath. Have you guys ever heard of Carl Hoonrath? No.
Just through you.
I've heard the name, but I don't know anything about him.
All right. So this guy and his friend Wilbur Wilkinson, they got involved in like the early contactee movement. And supposedly the guy had a fucking black box that this guy named Bosco gave him, right? It like busts up in his room, gives him this box. He looks like a man in black. And this box it's called the Bosco Box. And it can draw UFOs out of the sky, right?
Wow.
And so this dude's from Wisconsin. He ends up in California, and he's with George Adamski and George Hunt Williamson. And he starts telling Adamski that he's got this box and that he can pull UFOs out of the sky and also airplanes, like military airplanes. So somebody rats him out to the FBI, and they show up at Adamski's place at Mount Palomar, and they're like, "What the fuck's going on here, man? Does this guy have some type of like Soviet technology to pull airplanes out of the sky?" Well, Adamski flips out, and so this guy's just this weird character that's bouncing around the whole contactee movement in 1954 in Southern California, and he ends up with George Hunt Williamson, and like he and Wilkinson and George Hunt Williamson are using Ouija boards and like crystal radios, and they're channeling all these fucking aliens, right?
Wow.
So anyway, the dude he ends up saying that he's found the location of a landed UFO, and so he and Wilkinson steal an airplane at this airport in Southern California, and they take off to go find this UFO, and they're never seen again. And so it's one of the FBI's top 10 disappearances, right? And so a couple of people, like Nick Redfern wrote about this. I think Go Rightly's written some about this too. And there's this official story of this Carl Hoonrath guy. But I started digging into it because it's related to Downard, right? There's some like weird Downard connections to this guy and to Frank Scully, right? And so I started looking into this, and I found out that everything that's known about this guy officially is wrong, right? And like the official story is completely wrong. And I figured out what the Bosco device was, where it came from. He meets this guy that's called the Genius from Ohio. And there's another guy named Dr. Nagata that are involved in this, and this whole like weird conspiracy about this box. And I figured out like where the box came from, who the secret genius from Ohio is, who Dr. Nagata is, and I think I found the location of the plane. Right.
Wow.
So anyway, but the really fucked up thing is that the guy ends up one of the first mentions of him that I found, he ends up at a dinner party that's like an official Disney dinner party. And this guy named I can't think of his name right now. He basically is the illustrator of like the Seven Dwarves, all these things, right? And Ward, his name was Ward. What's the last name? Anyway, but he had all these parties, and so a bunch of famous people like R. Crumb were at this party, and this guy's like holding a fucking cookie, and he's like staring at it, and all of these people think he's a fucking alien. They've invited him because he's been talking so much about aliens, and Disney at the time was working on a UFO documentary. So they'd invited this guy because he was in the UFO scene. And so they think he's a fucking alien while he's like staring at this cookie at this dinner party. And I remember and like their description of the guy is that like he acted so strange, like he wasn't a human being, like he didn't know what food was. I thought that's really strange. And then I found out that George Hunt Williamson was smuggling mescaline back from South America. And then he and Hoonrath and his buddy Wilkinson were all eating mescaline while they were channeling this shit. And so like that scene at the Disney party where he's staring at the cookie, he's fucking high on mescaline, right? And so anyway, there's a whole backstory to it. I dig into all of that stuff. How Disney's connected. It's cool. I mean, it's a weird story. But when I started finding some of these old documents that, like, if you didn't have access to current technology, like you wouldn't have found any of this stuff. And so it kind of like turns the whole story on its head. And yeah, I think I have an idea of where the crashed airplane is. And yeah, I think
Cool.
a fun story to tell. You know,
totally unexpected.
Great.
So
Yeah,
That
very
sounds
on brand.
thanks.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah. And what I loved your presentation last year.
Oh,
Nathan.
so
Just
good.
Yeah.
Hearing you tonight, I really love just like how much like joy you have in uncovering this stuff, because you could really, it really comes across in your presentation and hearing you talk about it and stuff. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with this year.
Thanks, man. I do. I get excited.
Yeah.
Nathan gets super
Absolutely.
excited about all
Really
that.
look forward to seeing you
gets super
hanging out
excited.
with you too, Nathan.
Yeah, dude.
Can I
It's been a while.
Hey, I have
So
a question about
Yeah.
the video archive. There's a video archive up there.
Mhm.
Seattle.
Yeah, it's a big nonprofit like video rental archive place, etc.
Does it have Canadian shows and movies?
Yeah, it's got
Oh,
Cambodian shows. It's
Really?
got everything.
I'm
yeah.
looking for a really rare Canadian children's television.
Yeah, shoot me the info, man. I'll go there. I'll check
It's
it
called,
out.
I think
it's
we
called
talked
Summer-
about this, didn't we?
Yeah, it's called Somerset 11, and it's about a little town where there's a weird portal that these kids are finding, and it has like all these weird connections to Somerset, Kentucky.
Oh my
wow.
But it was a weird Canadian show called Somerset 11. Someone sent me an email about it that was completely fucking bonkers, like the weirdest thing ever, right? And I was like, what the fuck is this? This is like a fucking alternate reality game or something. I mean, it was. I'll show you the message. It is fucking crazy.
Wow.
And so then I was at Disney World when I got the message, right, on a bus, sitting in front of a sign that says "The world is magic." And this
Oh, wow.
comes true, right? We're like riding
freaked
back
me
from the
out.
Magic Kingdom, and it was like, hey, there's a TV show called Somerset 11. And it's like this really intense, fucked up thing. And I
Is
thought,
it spelled the same?
huh?
Spelled the same as your town?
Yeah, it's Somerset 11. And so I was like, there's no way this is fucking true. And I Googled it, and it's a fucking TV show that was on in Canada that is connected to Ong's Hat.
What?
And a lawsuit between Lego and this production company that made this old TV show. But the TV show was lost, right? And so there are 11 episodes and a video game that they made. And there's like websites about this, but no one's been able to get copies of the fucking television
Do
show.
you know what
What
year?
year
they,
was that?
they ain't got
What
it.
year?
Oh, I think it's like late 1990s, maybe.
Okay.
Okay,
It was
so
the-
not like 70s or something. Yeah.
No. And it was like the first Lego action figure. Okay. And like, it's fucking crazy. The whole thing is crazy. And it all ended up being true. Matheny is a part of the story. He was part of the lawsuit because the marketing that they used for the show was like a ripoff of Ong's Hat. Right.
What?
And
Wow.
it's a really weird story. And then like this person that sent me the message had a bunch of weird connection to it and had become obsessed with the TV show which they said was some type of like gateway to like another dimension, right?
Oh my
And I was
God.
like, what the fuck is this, right? But it all ended up being true. And like I found on like the Internet Archive, they have the old website archived and even the old game, but you can't run it because it's in JavaScript, right? Like an older version of JavaScript.
Yeah.
But it like there are descriptions on Wikipedia. If you just look up Somerset 11 on
Oh my God,
Wikipedia,
I'm
it
doing
has all the episodes listed. And I think it was it was like a French Canadian show. And dude, and so I found the director. I've been trying to reach out to the director of the show, but I really would love to get that to see the episodes
Wow.
because it's so strange. And if you read the episode descriptions, you're like, this is weirdly connected to some of the Somerset
Oh
stuff.
man.
Wow. Well, I don't know if you one area. I mean, it's touch and go the site, but there's a Reddit section that's like Reddit Lost Media. I don't know if you try looking there because that might be they're pretty. You know, if you kind of put it out there, there'll be other people get a bee in their bonnet and be like, "Yeah, I'm going to try and track this down."
That's a good idea.
You know, to be the one who found it. But yeah, Reddit Lost Media is really good.
I'll do that.
Source for that.
Yeah.
Nathan, any more? I was telling this to Nevaeh the other day about the Kentucky Anomaly and some of your research in it. Any more developments with that?
I mean,
stuff?
We're working on the spear sensor stuff, which I don't look at this.
Everyone's leaving.
He's about to pull something out here.
We built
What
this
the
thing,
fuck?
and so this is it goes on.
Spear?
It's a spear sensor, and it's it's single position entropy and randomness sensor, right? And so like we're gonna put these around the area where the Kentucky Anomaly is, and we're gonna try to map the randomness, like to create a topological map of the randomness. And
where the fuck did you even get that thing? You didn't invent that?
Well, it's like this is 3D printed, but
okay.
But yeah, it uses a Raspberry Pi and a random number generator and some shit.
Gotcha.
Anyway, but we're trying to study the anomaly stuff. But no, I've got a ton on it, man. There's so much. I don't know.
Jesus Christ. You're making me feel bad. I'm fucking talking about Golden Girls over here.
No, dude, I can't wait for that. That's gonna be. There's also all the Bigfoot appearances in TV shows too.
I know that'll have to be for when we revive Strange Realities in Chattanooga. So save that for the Chattanooga Strange Realities.
I guess so. I guess we could do that for the people will be more into Bigfoot down there, maybe.
Exactly.
Go down to the Bigfoot Museum in Blue Ridge or whatever.
There you go.
Well, that's like my question about the Kentucky Anomaly for you. Actually, I wanted to ask you this, Nathan, real quick. Was like, so the Kentucky Anomaly is centered around Somerset, but like it kind of radiates down into Tennessee.
Yeah. Yes.
So like how far down does it actually go into Tennessee?
It's down into the what's the national park down there? Oh god, I'm trying to think of the name of it. It's in
Smoky Mountains?
No, it's north of there. It's like northeastern Tennessee. I'm trying to think of the name of it. I can't think of it right now. Anyway, it extends from basically it follows the line of the Daniel Boone National Forest. So like right in the center of the Daniel Boone National Forest is where the Kentucky Anomaly is centered, but it's also the Kentucky Gravity High. And so it's a fault area. And I mean, you can see it. I showed you the maps when you were at the house here. And like, yeah, it extends down into like the Johnson City area, like that kind of area there. And then goes all the way northeast into it follows the line all the way to Serpent Mound. And that's a part of it as well. It's called the Greenville Fault, and so it kind of goes that way. But it's the edge, like when you look at the map of North America, and it's like the continent maps, right? There is a supercontinent that's called Laurentia, and so like North America is like five different pieces. And so the main piece of North America is called Laurentia. It's like this really old continent. So the edge of it is where the Kentucky Anomaly is, like that's like where we are, where Somerset is the southeastern edge. The southwestern edge of it is Sedona, right?
Ooh.
And it all, and so the 37th parallel is the line of the edge of this continent. And so like there are
Jesus.
all these quartz deposits both in the southeast, the southwest, and then the other peak of, so, and those are the two biggest peaks of geomagnetic energy, right? Are this area where the Kentucky Anomaly is, and then Sedona. And then the other one is in Alaska, and that's the northwestern edge of the continent.
Jesus.
Right. And so like if you follow the edge of the continent northeast, it runs through the Hudson Valley.
Oh my God.
And so
Okay.
like
Yeah.
all of these spots that are really big hot spots for like fucking weird
Mhm.
shit are the edges of this continent that's called Laurentia. So anyway, it's one of those things like because I was like, what is causing this? You know, what's the mass? And that's when I found the map that showed that, and it was like the southwestern edge is Sedona, the southeastern edge is the
That's bizarre.
Daniel Boone National Forest. So yeah, I mean it makes sense, but yeah, it's weird that it cuts through the Serpent Mound also, and then continues all the way from the Serpent Mound to the Hudson Valley, and then north into Canada. So.
Wow.
It's freaky when you put all these
Yeah.
maps on top of each other. It really does like tell a very clear story of like there's some strange shit there, you know. So
You showed me
Right.
that overlaying map that one time.
mhm.
That was wild.
Yeah, dude,
It's so weird.
It's weird, man. So I don't know, but it's and that honestly the reason that I dug so hard at that was, you know, when we were doing some of the TV show pitches for some of this stuff, the producers were like, and PBS, not PBS, but KET, Kentucky's public television, came and did like a little story, and I was talking about the Kentucky Anomaly, and they were like, you can't show this. This is bullshit. And I was like,
Wow.
it is not fucking bullshit, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, kill the show. We can't show this. This is ridiculous,
Wow.
right?
It's silenced.
And they ate me alive in the Lexington newspaper, like when the show came out. Like this professor at UK did a fucking op-ed piece and just tore me apart. Right?
Oh my
It was
God.
like,
Wow.
you're promoting conspiracy theories. This guy's a fucking piece of shit, you know. And I'm like, damn, right?
Gotta
But-
love academia.
Yeah, dude.
yeah. Jeez Louise.
But
Jeez, you're a sweetheart.
but these TV producers too were just like, fuck you, this can't be true, right? I'm like, NASA did a fucking study. They paid for, you know, this report, and it says this. And so anyway, to prove them wrong, I just started fucking digging and putting all the maps together because I was like, here you go, motherfuckers. You know? So yeah, that's how
That's the spirit.
Yeah, it is.
All
the
right.
spirit.
Well, guys, I want to thank y'all for coming on and doing this tonight. You guys are going to be integral parts of Strange Realities 2024, and I should say real quick that if you're watching this on YouTube, if you go to the video description, there is a link, and that is the direct link to the ticket. So if you want to get your tickets, get in there. It is $30 for online to get into the Facebook group. Want to do that as soon as possible, so go ahead and do that, and I will send you a link. But let's go down the list, everybody, to talk about what you're going to do, who you are, and what's going on in the future with you. Tim, we're going to start with you, and I understand you got
I got
you
a
got
couple of
amazing guests coming on.
a couple of
Good
Bosco
old
shows
America.
coming up. Yeah. I got a strange reality sandwich, I guess you could say. We got Adam next week. So we got tomorrow, people watching now, Titty Smith, and I kill myself. I should have asked Titty the origin of the name Titty. He's from like New Zealand, so maybe it's a popular name down there. But Titty Smith, anyone who's familiar with the staircase story
Oh.
of the murder or the death of Kathleen Peterson, he has written a whole book on the owl theory, the theory that she was killed by an owl. And he has done this intense, extensive research on the owl. I got to tell you, folks, I really kind of feel like we're kind of hitting our stride a little bit here on All America after that break in August, because we're coming out with some real banger episodes. So, Titty Smith's going to be talking about the owl theory involving the Kathleen Peterson case. That's going to come out tomorrow. Next week, we got Adam coming on for what kind of turned into an old man yells at cloud episode with Adam and I sort of reminiscing about the early days of the paranormal and podcasting and how things have changed, and just kind of looking back on conspiracy theories and the emergence of TikTok and all that stuff. And of course, talking all about strange realities because we want to get as many people informed about that as possible. Then the Strange Reality sandwich, but the week before Strange Realities, literally like before I depart for Nashville on Thursday, so the Wednesday before, it's going to be like the 1 year anniversary of the revival, the day before Halloween. So it's a special Halloween spooktacular edition of Binnall America. It's historic because it's the first time ever we're actually going to post up the video of the show. So you're going to see me doing the interview. It's nothing too fantastic. What you're seeing, sans top hat, essentially, is what you're just going to be seeing me, maybe a little bit better looking hair, doing the interview. But the reason why we're doing the interview in video is because our guest is drag queen, ghost hunting, paranormal investigator extraordinaire, Monique Too Soon. And she's in full drag makeup and regalia, and she's amazing. She's really an awesome person. I actually did the interview last night, and I had an absolute blast talking to her. It's a really fascinating. First of all, I'm a fan of drag. I like it. I think it's a fascinating and really tremendous art form and performance art. There's so much that goes into it. The makeup and the costumes and the persona and the performing. It's like, so I kind of fanboyed out because I'm like, I'm talking to someone who has these tremendous skills in like beyond what little goblin Binnall can do. I'm just, I even said that as well. I'm like, you're like fabulous, and I'm a fucking goblin, and I feel so weird because it's like me, and then next to me is this like gorgeous drag queen. So it was very, but it's a very unique. She's the first ever drag queen who's goes on these paranormal investigations in full drag and does these things. And so it really has, she says, has an effect on the vibe of the thing. The ghosts seem to like I was saying to her, I'm like, can you imagine you're at the haunted location every fucking weekend? It's like different groups of people. Then one day this drag queen comes rolling in and the ghosts seem to react to it. So it was a really, really fascinating episode, really enlightening. So that's October 30th, the BOA Halloween Spooktacular with Monique Too Soon. Then I'm going down to Nashville, coming back. I know we don't want to talk about it. I know we don't want to think about it. But if you're sitting around on Tuesday night, November 5th, Jeremy Vaney and I are going to be fucking live. The fourth, I don't know the fourth ever. We've been doing this for the last 4 presidential elections. Vaney and I are going to be we're going to be doing a live election night coverage. So if you don't want to fucking watch CNN where they rehash the shit over and over again, I'm going to have it on like a little TV here in the corner. And we just go over, as the results come in, we have a special.
You guys are going to call it.
Yeah. You're calling it.
As soon as I hear it, yeah, we'll call it as soon as we know. Yeah, for sure. And we've got the tradition is we have it's not real, of course, so don't get on me, PETA, but we have an election. We have a chimp, the election center chimp, Giles. So anytime there's a break in the news, Vanny and I will be talking about anything and everything. All of a sudden, you'll just hear the fucking Giles go bananas, no pun intended. And then it'll be like, hold on, whatever the conversation, stop the conversation. Giles has information from the news desk. And I'm like, we're calling Delaware. We're calling Delaware right now for Kamala Harris. So we're going to have the whole, and it's going to be video. It's going to be live video on YouTube. And anyone who, among my circle of friends, people listening, whatever, like if you're like, I want to jump in on it, we'll send you the fucking link. You can hop on the stream link, StreamYard, and get in on it. And honestly, it's kind of like both a de-stressing experience because it's so ridiculous. And it's rather than sit on the fucking couch all night and be like, listening to these talking heads break down exit polls from some random like South Carolina or whatever. It's like Vaney and I talking about what movies we saw this summer that sucked. And then all of a sudden, while he's in the middle of a review of Fall Guy, it's just like, and it's like, hold on, we're calling New Hampshire. We got New Hampshire in. Giles is calling in on the news desk. We're going to break New Hampshire now. So it's really, I will say, if you ever want like an artifact of really a tragic comic moment, then go back and listen to our 2016 episode where we go through the stages of grief. So you come to realize that Donald Trump has shockingly won the election. It's one of the funnier 2 hours of radio I've ever produced. So who knows what's going to happen this year with that and everything else. So as I said, if you want to escape the foolishness and if you want to escape the dead seriousness of all this on election night, they can get in on the foolishness of the Good Parade Binnall of America election night special. That'll be live election night, probably at like 9 p.m. because that's when like the real shit starts going down. So yeah, it'll be a lot of fun.
All right. And thank you, Tim and Steve.
Yeah. I'll see y'all in Nashville.
Pimp your show.
Oh yeah, I got a show called High Strangeness, and it's fun, man. Go listen to it.
I was just on. So.
You were just on, yeah. Adam, sorry, I spaced out there for a second, but Adam was just on. We did a little promo episode that will be out, I believe, Friday morning, and yeah, I have some great guests coming up. I just did an interview today. And I'm having a ball doing it. It's been over a year. I'm having so much fun. And Nevaeh, I would love to have you on my show. We'll talk off air, but I would love to be, especially after I hear your lecture. I'm going to really want to have you on because it sounds so interesting. But yeah, I'm having a ball doing it. Super excited. I've been doing some speaking. I got a couple projects in the work that are more, they're more camera. No, they're more like video extended things that I'm not quite ready to talk about yet, but I've been working really hard on doing some of that stuff. And yeah, I'm really excited. It's going to be a fun 2025 as long as we still have a democracy.
Yes.
Nothing dire, though.
Nothing dire.
So, Nathan, what about yourself?
Finishing up season 3. That's going to be coming out.
Of Pennyroyal.
Yes, of Pennyroyal. Yeah. Sorry, yeah, and a couple other smaller, less intense podcasts, little documentary things from some of the stuff I've been researching, and some other secret projects in the works that we'll see they'll be out next year or will be in the process of being made next year. So yeah, it's a lot of fun stuff.
All right, cool. And finally, Nevaeh, talk about your show, your presence.
I have a YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is Nevaeh's Nightmare. I talk about any and everything that has to do with a little bit weirdness, dark history, aliens, ghosts, true crime, all of that jazz. I like talking about it. I have an interest in it. And yeah, I'm in school right now. I go on break in a little bit, but right now school's kicking my butt, so I don't really know what I'm doing other than this conference. But yeah, I have a YouTube channel and I post videos on there.
Nice.
All right.
Hell yeah.
Perfect. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being a part of this and for doing this tonight. Again, tickets are available, strangerealitiesconference.com. They are $70 to come hang out in Nashville and get access to all 3 days online. $30 to get everything online. And we do have day rates available. So if people are coming in from the Nashville area or around, if they want to come to Nashville and hang out on Friday or Saturday, those are $40. So come hang out with us. And I want to thank everybody for being a part of this. And tomorrow night, we're going to be streaming again with Ren Collier, Recluse, and Micah Hanks. So thank you guys for being a part of this tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
See y'all in Nashville.
See you soon, everyone.
See you then.